Ambassador Kara Voss stepped off the shuttle, onto the wide metal floor of Harmony Nexus. The orbital station hung in empty space like a silver wheel, turning slowly against the black. The air smelled clean and cold, with a faint metal taste. Humans called places like this neutral ground. Everyone came here to talk instead of fight. Kara wore the standard gray diplomatic suit. It fit close without being tight. Her dark hair stayed pulled back in a simple knot. She carried nothing except the small titanium knife clipped to her belt. The blade measured only 12 centimeters long. The Concord rules allowed one personal edge tool for Deathworld species. Humans came from Earth. They earned the label Deathworlder long ago. The checkpoint line moved fast. Most aliens passed through without trouble. A few tall, feathered beings from the Avari Collective showed bright crests and walked on. A group of squid-like safari floated past in their water tanks. They waved soft tentacles at the guards. Kara waited her turn. She kept her face calm and her hands loose at her sides. 2 security drones floated forward. They looked like smooth black spheres with thin blue sensor lines. The lead drone spoke in clear standard Galactic. Its voice came soft and flat. Ambassador Kara Voss of the Human Concord, please step to the scan platform. Kara walked forward without hurry. She stood on the glowing circle. The platform hummed. A warm light swept over her from head to feet. The drones checked for hidden weapons, energy cells, poisons, anything not on the approved list. The second drone moved closer. Its sensor focused on her belt. That item is a bladed instrument. The rules permit it for Deathworld origin diplomats. Please remove the knife and place it in the tray. Kara unclipped the knife. She held it for a moment between thumb and finger. The titanium caught the light in a quick silver flash. She set it down on the smooth gray tray. The tray slid into the wall. A soft click sounded. Knife vanished behind a sealed panel. The lead drone spoke again. Item secured, Ambassador. You may proceed. The Khazari delegation requests that edge tools remain outside the negotiation chamber. They consider blades a sign of uncivilized intent. Kara gave a small nod. She said nothing. Her mouth curved in the tiniest smile. The drones floated back to their posts. She stepped off the platform and walked toward the main corridor. Inside her head, thoughts moved fast. She had expected the confiscation. The Khazari hated blades. Their history told a long story of wars fought with knives and swords. Their queens died under sharp edges. Their workers lost limbs to steel. Their culture turned blades into the worst kind of taboo. The Concord tried to honor that fear. Humans agreed to follow the rule, most of the time. Kara kept walking. The corridor stretched long and bright. White walls curved overhead. Soft lights glowed from hidden strips. The floor felt firm under her boots. Diplomats. A four-armed trader from the merchant guilds nodded politely. A crystal being from the Luminara Collective shimmered as it drifted by. Kara returned each greeting with a quick look and a slight tilt of her head. Welcome. She reached a wide viewport. The stars burned cold and bright beyond the thick, transparent material. Harmony Nexus orbited a quiet yellow star. No planets circled close enough to matter. The station existed only for talks and trade. Kara stood there for a moment. She studied the view. She counted the docking arms. 8 in use, 3 empty. She noted the positions of the security turrets. Small round housings dotted the outer hull, every 50 meters. She memorized the pattern. A soft chime sounded in her earpiece. Her aide spoke through the private channel. Ambassador, the Khazari liaison, waits in the green reception lounge. He asked to speak with you before the session begins. Kara answered in a low voice. Tell him I will arrive in 10 minutes. The viewport. She continued down the corridor. Her steps stayed even and quiet. She passed a maintenance robot. It rolled on 6 small wheels and carried a tray of cleaning tools. The robot ignored her. Humans did not register as threats to machines. Not yet. The green reception lounge opened at the end of the passage. Tall plants with wide blue leaves grew in pots along the walls. benches curved in gentle arcs. A low table held bowls of nutrient paste and drinking tubes. The Khazari liaison waited near the center. Chitter 9 stood taller than most of his kind. His black chiton shone under the lights. Gold markings traced patterns across his thorax. He wore the formal red sash of a high diplomat. 4 slender arms stayed folded against his chest. 2 large compound eyes watched Kara approach. His mandibles clicked once in greeting. "Ambassador Voss," Chitter 9 said in standard Galactic, with a slight buzzing undertone. "The night has been taken. I hope this causes no offense." Strong feelings about such tools. Kara stopped 3 paces away. She met his gaze without blinking. "No offense taken," she said. Her voice stayed level and clear. "The Concord rules exist for a reason. I follow them." Chitter 9 tilted his head. The motion looked almost thoughtful. "Good. The talks tomorrow concern important matters. Isotope rights must not fall into greedy hands. The Khazari need secure supply lines." Kara kept her expression neutral. "We seek fair trade," she answered. "Nothing more, nothing less." The liaison clicked his mandibles again. The sound carried a hint of satisfaction. "Then we understand each other." He gestured toward a side door. "The negotiation chamber waits through there. The mediators arrive soon. Please rest here until the hour." Kara nodded once. She walked to the nearest bench and sat. She crossed one leg over the other. Her hands rested light on her thighs. She looked relaxed. She felt anything but. Inside her mind, she reviewed the layout again. Had 4 main levels. The diplomatic rings sat on the 3rd. Guards patrolled in pairs every 15 minutes. Emergency bulkheads could seal any section in under 10 seconds. She knew the weak points in the outer hull. 3 small maintenance ports stayed unguarded during quiet shifts. A human could reach them if needed. She pushed the thoughts aside. Not yet. The talks came first. Words came first. Force stayed as the last answer. Humans learned that lesson the hard way. They still remembered it. Chitter 9 moved to the far side of the lounge. He spoke quietly into his own communicator. His mandibles worked fast. Kara watched without staring. She noted the way his guards stood near the door. 2 warriors in heavy armor. Their claws stayed sheathed. Their eyes tracked every movement in the room. Time passed slow and steady. The lights overhead stayed bright and even. The plants released a faint sweet scent into the air. Kara breathed it in. She let her shoulders loosen. She prepared her mind for the hours ahead. A wall panel chimed. The mediators would arrive in 30 minutes. The session would begin soon. Kara stood. She smoothed her suit. She walked toward the door that led to the chamber. Chitter 9 turned toward her. His voice carried across the quiet space. "Ambassador, the knife stays behind. You enter clean." Kara paused. She looked back at him. Her smile returned, small and sharp. "Yes," she said, "I enter clean." She stepped through the door. The corridor beyond stretched short and bright. The negotiation chamber waited at the end. Kara Voss walked forward alone. No knife hung at her belt. No visible weapon marked her body. Yet every part of her remained ready. Every bone, every muscle, every breath carried the long memory of Earth. The door slid open ahead. She entered the wide round room. The transparent walls showed the endless stars. The table in the center waited for voices and choices. The real test would begin soon. Kara took her seat. She folded her hands, waited. The negotiation chamber stood wide and round. The transparent walls curved high and showed the deep black of space with sharp points of starlight. The long table in the center held seats for 20 beings. Most stayed empty today. Only the key players came. The mediators sat at one end in pale blue robes. Their faces showed calm masks of neutrality. Kara Voss took her place near the middle. She sat straight. Her hands rested flat on the smooth surface. The Khazari delegation filled the opposite side. High Mandible Vex Prime sat tallest. His black carapace gleamed under the overhead lights. Gold threads wove through his formal mantle. 6 guards stood behind him. Their armor plates clicked softly when they shifted. 2 more Khazari scribes waited at the sides with recording crystals. Chitter 9 sat to Vex Prime's right. He clicked his mandibles once in formal greeting. Kara returned the gesture with a small nod. The mediators began. The lead mediator spoke in clear Standard Galactic to discuss isotope allocation rights from the Kuiper Belt zones. The human claim stands firm. The Khazari request expanded access. We seek agreement without conflict. Vex Prime leaned forward. His voice buzzed deep and sharp. The Kuiper Belt holds wealth that belongs to many. The humans hoard it like frightened larvae. They block fair trade. The Khazari need those isotopes for our hives. Our young require stable energy. Our warriors require strong weapons. Kara listened without moving. Her face stayed quiet. She waited for the mediator to speak again. The mediator turned to her. Ambassador Voss, the floor is yours. Kara spoke slow and clear. The Kuiper Belt falls within human territory by Concord Treaty, signed 200 cycles ago. We mine what we need. We sell surplus at market rates. The current offer stands at 30% above base price. No one starves. No one freezes. We follow the rules. Vex Prime slammed one claw on the table. The sound rang sharp. Call, theft, trade. They call greed, caution. Our scouts report hidden stockpiles, deep vaults full of rare elements meant only for human use. We demand full inspection rights, immediate access to all facilities. The mediators exchanged quick looks. One spoke. The request for inspection exceeds current protocol. Such measures require mutual consent. Kara met Vex Prime's compound eyes. She kept her voice even. Inspection equals occupation. We do not open our homes to armed strangers. The offer remains fair. Take it or leave it. The High Mandible rose slowly. His guards tensed. Vex Prime spread his primary arms wide. The motion carried old meaning among his kind. We see no fairness here, only Deathworld arrogance. The Khazari will not bow to greed. He turned his head toward the nearest guard. A single sharp click sounded. The warrior stepped forward. 3 more followed. They moved in perfect step. Their claws stayed sheathed but ready. The mediators froze. Their neutrality bound them. Interference in ritual displays. No weapons drawn unless blood already flowed. Kara watched the approach. She did not stand yet. The lead warrior stopped 1 pace from her. His voice rasped low. Deathworlder, you refuse respect. You refuse reason. Step aside, or we make you step aside. Kara tilted her head slightly. Respect flows both ways, she said. You ask for what you have not earned. The warrior reached out. His claw closed around her left wrist. The grip tightened like a metal trap. Meant to hold, meant to hurt, meant to show who ruled the room. Kara felt the pressure. She did not pull away. She let her body stay loose. She studied the way the claw locked. She noted the angle of the arm. She measured the distance to the next warrior. She counted the seconds. Vex Prime spoke again. This ends now, Ambassador. Sign the new terms, or your arm stays in our grasp until you do. The chamber grew quiet, except for the soft hum of the station systems. The stars outside burned cold and far. The mediators stared. The scribes stopped recording. The guards waited for the order to drag her away. Kara looked up at Vex Prime. Her mouth curved in a small, calm smile. You want my signature? She said. You want my agreement? You think this grip changes anything? She moved then. Not fast, not wild, just sure. Her right shoulder rolled in a tight circle. The motion pulled her body forward a fraction. The warrior tightened his hold. He expected fear. He expected struggle. He received neither. Kara drove her right forearm upward in a short, clean arc. The edge of her ulna, the long bone on the outside of her forearm, struck the soft joint under the warrior's throat. The hit landed perfect. Cartilage gave way with a wet crunch. The warrior's mandibles flew open. Air rushed out in a choked hiss. His grip loosened. His knees bent. He dropped to the floor and curled tight. The second warrior lunged forward. His ceremonial glaive rose high. The blade caught the light in a bright flash. Kara stepped to the side. She caught the haft with both hands. She used the warrior's own force. She twisted hard. She pulled him off balance. She drove her elbow into the side of his head. The point struck the cluster of eyes on the right side. Lenses cracked. Hemolymph sprayed across the table. The warrior staggered back. He dropped the glaive. He clutched his face. The third warrior charged low. He aimed to tackle her to the ground. Kara shifted her weight. She met him halfway. She brought her knee up sharp. It slammed into the thin armor plate over his abdomen. The plate buckled. Air whooshed from his spiracles. He doubled over. Kara grabbed his neck seam. She drove her elbow down again. The back of her arm hit the base of his skull with a heavy thud. Bone shifted. Chitin split. The warrior collapsed face first. The fourth warrior hesitated. He looked at his fallen comrades. He looked at Kara. She stood straight. Her breathing stayed even. A thin line of green blood marked her knuckles. No red blood showed on her. No wound marked her skin. Vex Prime stared. His mandibles worked without sound. The mediators shouted for order. Security panels flashed red. Alarms began to wail. Soft at first, then louder. Kara flexed her right hand once. She raised her arm slowly. She showed the limb whole and unbroken. She looked straight at the high mandible. Her voice carried clear across the chaos. "You took my knife," she said. "You thought that made me safe. You were wrong." The remaining guards gripped their weapons. They looked to Vex Prime for the next order. The high mandible stayed silent. His gold mantle trembled once. Kara lowered her arm. She stepped back one pace. She returned to her seat. She sat down again. Her hands rested flat on the table again. The blood on her knuckles dried fast. The alarms grew louder. The chamber doors hissed open. Security teams rushed in. They carried stun batons. They wore heavy armor. They stopped short when they saw the scene. 4 Khazari warriors lay on the floor. Floor 3 groaned. 1 stayed still. Kara sat calm. The mediators whispered fast. The scribes started recording again. Kara spoke once more. Her words stayed quiet but firm. "The talks continue," she said, "or they end here. Your choice." Vex Prime sank back into his seat. His claws gripped the table edge tight. The room waited. The stars outside watched without care. The alarms screamed through the chamber in short, sharp bursts. Red lights flashed across the transparent walls. Security teams poured in from 3 doors. They held stun batons raised and aimed. Their heavy boots thumped on the floor. They stopped in a half-circle around the table. Their visors reflected the chaos. 4 Khazari warriors lay sprawled across the polished surface. 3 twitched and groaned. 1 stayed completely still. Green hemolymph pooled under his head and spread in slow, thin lines. Kara Voss sat in her chair again. Her back stayed straight. Her hands rested palms down on the table. A small smear of green marked the knuckles of her right hand. The blood had already started to dry into dark flakes. She breathed slow and even. Her eyes stayed fixed on high mandible Vex Prime. The lead mediator stood up fast. His pale blue robe trembled. He raised both hands, palms out. "Everyone cease. All weapons lower. This is a diplomatic zone. No further violence." The security captain stepped forward. His voice came muffled through the helmet. "Ambassador Voss, stand slowly. Keep your hands visible." Kara did not move. She spoke without turning her head. The violence already ended, Captain. Your warriors arrived late. The threat no longer exists. Vex Prime rose from his seat. His primary arms shook. His mandibles clicked fast and uneven. You attacked my guard. You broke ritual protocol. You spilled blood in sacred talks. Kara looked at him then. Her gaze stayed steady. I defended myself. Your guard attacked first. You ordered it. You signaled the advance. You wanted to show strength. You wanted to force my hand. You chose poorly. One of the fallen warriors stirred. He pushed up on shaky arms. His throat clicked wet and ragged. He tried to speak. No words came out. Only air hissed through the crushed joint. Kara glanced at him once, then looked away. She felt no joy, no anger, only calm focus. The mediators whispered among themselves. Into a hidden comm link, the session suspends. We call for medical teams, immediate evacuation of injured parties. The chamber seals until order returns. Security moved in pairs. They lifted the wounded Khazari with careful grips. They carried them toward the side doors. The warriors groaned as they passed Kara. None looked at her. Their compound eyes stayed wide and dark. Vex Prime stayed on his feet. He pointed one claw at Kara. You stand disarmed. You carry no blade. You wear no armor. Yet my elite lie broken. How? Kara lifted her right arm slowly. She held it out straight. The sleeve of her gray suit rode up a little. The skin showed pale with a few faint old scars. The knuckles looked red and swollen, but whole. She flexed her fingers once. The motion looked simple, almost gentle. You took my knife, she said. Her voice carried clear over the dying alarms. You removed the tool. You thought the threat went with it. You forgot one thing. Humans come from a death world. Our bodies grew hard. Bones grew dense. Our muscles grew strong. We fought with teeth, with fists, with rocks, with sticks. We learned to kill long before we learned to forge metal. My arm stays mine. My elbow stays a hammer. My forearm stays a blade. My fist stays a club. You took nothing important. The chamber grew quieter. The alarms faded to a low pulse. The red lights dimmed. Security stepped back. They lowered their batons. They watched Kara like she might explode at any second. Chitter 9 moved forward one careful step. His gold markings looked dull now. Ambassador Voss, he said, soft and buzzing, this changes everything. Our people fear blades. We built our laws around that fear. You show us something worse. You show us that the weapon lives inside the flesh. Kara lowered her arm. She placed both hands flat again. I show you truth, she answered. Earth shaped us harsh and cruel. Gravity pulled harder. Air stayed thin. Food stayed scarce. Predators hunted us. We survived because we fought. We adapted. Of ourselves into tools. You saw only the knife. You missed the rest. Vex Prime sank back down. His claws gripped the table edge so tight the surface creaked. He stared at the green stains on the floor. He stared at his fallen guards. He stared at Kara. His voice came low. You could have killed them all. I could have, Kara said. I chose not to. I stopped when the threat stopped. I follow rules too. My rules say end the danger. Do not create new danger unless forced. Your warriors live. Your talks live. Your pride hurts. That stays your problem. A medical drone floated in. It hummed soft and white. It scanned the remaining Khazari. It projected a hollow display. Injuries listed in neat lines. Fractured larynx. Compound ocular rupture. Cerebral concussion. Spinal misalignment. No fatalities. The drone spoke in calm tones. Recommend immediate treatment. Stabilize and transport. Security helped the last conscious warrior to his feet. He leaned heavy on two guards. His steps dragged. His head hung low. They left the chamber without a word. The mediators returned to their seats. They looked shaken. Their faces stayed pale. The lead mediator cleared his throat. We resume in 1 hour. Private medical bays receive the injured. We clean the chamber. We reset the table. No one leaves the diplomatic ring until then. Ambassador Voss, you remain under observation. Kara nodded once. Understood. Vex Prime spoke again. His mandibles moved slow. You sit here calm. You bleed no red. You show no fear. Why? Kara met his eyes. Because fear wastes energy, she answered. I save mine for when it matters. You wanted to teach me respect. You taught me your weakness instead. Next time think harder, before you grab. Silence filled the room. The stars outside burned steady and cold. The station turned slow. The galaxy watched without comment. Shitter 9 stepped closer. He lowered his voice so only Kara heard. You changed the game today, Deathworlder. Our histories speak of monsters without blades. The story's true. Kara gave the smallest smile. Monsters survive, she said. Civilized beings negotiate. Both ways work. Choose wisely. The mediators called for recess. The chamber emptied slow. Security stayed at every door. Kara sat alone at the table. She looked at her hands. She wiped the last traces of green blood on her sleeve. She waited for the next round. 1 hour passed, quiet and tense. Maintenance bots rolled in. They cleaned the floor. They removed the stains. They left the air smelling sharp and sterile. Kara stood when the chime sounded. She walked to her seat again. The others returned. Vex Prime sat last. His mantle looked wrinkled. His eyes looked tired. The lead mediator spoke. The floor returns to Ambassador Voss. State your position. Kara leaned forward slightly. The Kuiper Belt stays ours, she said. The offer stands. 30% above market. No inspections, no occupation. Take the deal. Walk away with dignity, or lose more than isotopes. Vex Prime stared at her. For a long moment, his claws relaxed. He nodded once. We accept the terms, he said. We retract the demands. We sign today. The scribes moved fast. They prepared the crystals. They loaded the text. The mediators watched close. Kara signed first. Her hands stayed steady. The stylus left a clean line. Vex Prime signed next. His claws scratched deep marks. The deal locked. The chamber stayed quiet. No cheers, no relief. Only the soft hum of systems. The stars kept shining. Kara stood. She looked around the room once. She walked toward the exit. Security parted for her. They watched her pass. No one spoke. She stepped into the corridor. The door closed behind her. She breathed deep. The air tasted clean again. She flexed her right arm once. The bruises ached a little. She ignored them. The lesson landed hard. The galaxy learned one more truth about humans. They stayed polite. They stayed calm. They stayed deadly when pushed. High Mandible Vex Prime sat frozen in his seat. His claws dug deep grooves into the table edge. The gold threads of his mantle hung limp. His compound eyes stayed locked on Kara Voss. The chamber lights felt too bright now. The air felt too thin. The soft hum of the station sounded far away. You are disarmed, he said at last. His voice cracked on the last word. You carry no blade, no point, no edge. How do you break my best warriors with bare flesh? Kara stood slow. She stepped around the table. She stopped 2 paces from him. She raised her right arm again. She held it level with his face. The sleeve pulled back further. The skin showed smooth, except for the fresh red marks where the first claw had squeezed too hard. She turned her arm so the outer edge faced him. The ulna bone ran straight and strong under the skin, like a hidden bar of steel. This, she said, is my blade. It grows with me. It never dulls. It never needs sharpening. You took the knife. You left the arm. Mistake. Vex Prime recoiled. His mandibles clacked together fast. The sound filled the quiet room like dry sticks breaking. The remaining scribes backed against the wall. Their recording crystals trembled in their grips. The mediators watched with wide eyes. One whispered into a calm. No one moved to stop her. No one dared. Kara lowered her arm. She spoke again, calm and clear. On Earth we have no natural armor, no thick shell, no venom, no claws that fold. We have weak skin, we have soft bellies, we have fragile necks. Yet we rule our world. We hunt things bigger than us. We climb high. We swim deep. We build tools. We break bones. We survive cold. We survive heat. We survive hunger. We survive each other. Our bodies learn to fight before our minds learned words. Our fists smash. Our elbows stab. Our knees crush. Our heels grind. Our teeth tear. We do not need metal to kill. We need only will. She flexed her fingers. The motion looked casual, almost lazy. The knuckles popped once. The sound carried sharp. In the silence. You think weapons make the warrior, she continued. You think removing the weapon removes the danger. You think wrong. The weapon serves the hand serves the mind serves the body stays the true weapon always. My arm stays part of me. My elbow stays a club. My forearm stays an axe. My wrist stays a whip. My fingers stay hooks. My palm stays a shield. You cannot confiscate any of it. You cannot seal it away. You cannot declare it taboo. Chitter 9 stepped closer. His voice buzzed low. Ambassador, you speak of evolution. Our kind evolved blades too. We grew mandibles sharp enough to cut stone. We grew spines long enough to pierce armor. We learned to fear our own tools. We made laws to chain them. We thought chains brought peace. You show us chains break easy, when the flesh stays free. Kara nodded once. Your laws protect you from yourselves, she said. Our laws protect others from us. We know what we can do. We hold back. We smile. We talk. We offer fair deals. Follow rules. We stay polite. Until someone grabs. Until someone threatens. Until someone forgets who stands in front of them. Then, we stop holding back. Vex Prime looked down at the green stains on the floor. His guards still lay in the medical bays. Their wounds would heal. Their pride would not. The high mandible lifted his head slow. His voice came quieter now. You could have ended us all here. You chose mercy. Why? Kara met his gaze. Because mercy costs less, she answered. Dead enemies make new enemies. Wounded pride makes lessons. Living witnesses spread truth. Your people will remember today. They will remember the human who fought without steel. They will remember she stopped when she could have continued. They will remember respect works better than force. The mediators cleared their throats. The lead one spoke. The session stands recessed. We meet again tomorrow. Fresh terms. New proposals. No weapons. No guards. No displays. All parties agree. Vex Prime stared at Kara a long moment. His mandibles moved slow. We agree, he said. We meet tomorrow. Kara turned. She walked toward the exit. The security team parted wide. They kept their batons low. They kept their eyes on her hands. She passed through the door. The corridor stretched empty and bright. She walked alone. Her boots made soft echoes on the metal floor. Behind her the chamber stayed quiet. The scribes packed their crystals. The mediators talked in low voices. Vex Prime sat still. He stared at the empty seat where Kara had been. He stared at the faint red mark her knuckles left on the table. He stared at nothing. Kara reached the green reception lounge. The plants still released their sweet scent. The benches curved empty. She sat on the nearest one. She leaned back. She closed her eyes for a moment. She breathed deep. The ache in her arm faded to a dull throb. She ignored it. Her aide appeared at the side door. The young human looked pale. His voice stayed low. Ma'am, the station commander wants a report. He asks if you need medical. He asks if charges should be filed. Kara opened her eyes. Tell him no report needed, no charges, no medical. I acted in self-defense. The footage shows it, the witnesses confirm it. The matter closes here. The aide nodded. He hesitated. Then he spoke again. They are calling you the arm fighter already, ma'am. Word spreads fast. Kara gave a small smile. Let it spread, she said. Truth travels quicker than lies. The aide left. Kara sat alone. She looked at her right arm. She traced the line of the ulna with one finger. The bone felt solid under her touch. She thought of Earth, the heavy gravity, the sharp winds, the deep oceans, the tall mountains, the endless fights, the endless survival. She thought of ancestors who punched saber-teeth, who strangled cave bears, who wrestled giant birds. She carried their strength in her marrow. She carried their lessons in her nerves. Night cycle began on the station. The lights dimmed to soft gold. The corridors grew quiet. Kara stood, walked to her assigned quarters. The door opened smooth. She stepped inside. The room stayed small and clean. A bed, a desk, a viewport, a chair. She sat at the desk. She pulled up the treaty draft. She read the lines again. She made small notes. She prepared for tomorrow. Outside, the station turned slow. The stars wheeled past. The galaxy stayed vast and cold. Harmony Nexus floated peaceful. For now. The Khazari learned something new. The humans reminded everyone of something old. Kara finished her notes. She stood. She walked to the viewport. She looked out at the black. She flexed her arm once more. The bruises turned purple now. They would fade soon. The memory would not. She spoke to the empty room, quiet and sure. You take the knife. You leave the arm. You leave everything that matters. You leave the Deathworlder whole. She turned away from the stars. She closed her eyes. Sleep came fast and deep. Dreams stayed quiet. No claws reached for her. No mandibles clicked threats. The steady beat of her own heart. Only the solid weight of her own bones. Tomorrow, the talks would finish. Tomorrow, the deal would lock. Tomorrow, the galaxy would carry one more story about humans. One more warning wrapped in respect. One more truth carved in green blood and unbroken skin. The next morning cycle began with soft golden light across the station corridors. Harmony Nexus turned slow and steady as always. The diplomatic ring stayed quiet except for the low hum of air recyclers and the occasional footstep of guards. Kara Voss walked toward the negotiation chamber. Her gray suit looked fresh and clean. No marks showed on the fabric. The bruises on her right arm hid under the sleeve. They ached less now. She moved with the same calm stride she always used. Security waited at the chamber doors. They nodded once and stepped aside. No batons raised, no questions asked. The footage from yesterday played on every security screen in the command center. The station commander watched it 3 times. He filed no charges. He sent no warnings. He simply updated the file labeled Human Diplomat Interactions with a single line, high risk of physical response when cornered. Inside the chamber, the table waited again. The transparent walls showed the same endless stars, sat in their places. Their pale blue robes looked neat. The scribes waited with fresh recording crystals. The Khazari delegation entered last. Vex Prime walked at the front. His mantle hung straight. His gold threads caught the light. His mandibles stayed closed tight. Chitter 9 followed close behind. The guards stayed outside the door. No one invited them in today. Everyone took their seats. Kara sat in the same chair she used before. She placed her hands flat on the table. She looked across at Vex Prime. His compound eyes met hers for a long moment. Neither spoke first. The lead mediator broke the silence. We resumed the isotope allocation talks. The previous terms stand on the table. 30% above market price, no inspections, no occupation. The floor opens to High Mandible Vex Prime. Vex Prime leaned forward slow. His voice came low and steady. The Khazari retract our earlier demands. We accept the human offer. We sign the accord as written. We add one clause: mutual non-aggression. During trade operations, no boarding, no scans, no armed escorts. Our hives will honor this. Our warriors will stand down. The mediators exchanged quick looks. One nodded. The clause adds balance. We approve if the human side agrees. Kara spoke clear and even. We agree. The clause stays fair. Trade flows. Both sides gain. Both sides stay safe. The scribes moved fast. They loaded the final text into the crystals. They projected the lines in glowing blue above the table. Everyone read in silence. Kara scanned the words once more. She found no traps, no hidden demands, no tricks. The terms stayed clean. She nodded once. Vex Prime reached for the stylus first. His claw scratched the acceptance mark deep and sure. The crystal flashed green. The mediators witnessed. The lead one spoke. The accord locks, effective immediately. Kara took the stylus next. Her hand stayed steady. The line she drew flowed smooth and even. The crystal flashed green again. The deal closed. The room stayed quiet. Clapped. No one cheered. Only the soft click of the crystals sealing the record. A side panel opened. A small tray extended from the wall. On the tray rested one item, the titanium knife, 12 centimeters long. The blade caught the light in a quick silver flash. A Khazari attendant placed it carefully in front of Kara. She looked at the knife for a moment. She did not touch it. Vex Prime spoke again. His voice carried softer now. Ambassador Voss, your tool returns. We took it in error. We return it in respect. Kara looked up at him. She gave a small nod. Thank you, she said. The gesture means something. She stood then. The mediators stood with her. The scribes packed their tools. Vex Prime rose last. He stepped around the table. He stopped one pace from Kara. His primary arms stayed folded. His mandibles clicked once, in formal farewell. You taught us much, he said. We feared blades. We feared edges. We never feared arms. We never feared bone. We correct that now. The Khazari will. Remember. Kara met his gaze. We remember too, she answered. Respect earned stays longer than respect forced. Safe travels. High Mandible. Vex Prime turned. He walked toward the exit. His delegation followed. The door slid open and closed behind them. The chamber emptied slow. Only Kara stayed. She looked at the knife on the tray. She picked it up at last. She clipped it back to her belt. The weight felt familiar. She felt nothing special about it now. The real weapon stayed attached to her shoulder. She walked out into the corridor. A young human attaché waited near the lounge. The aide looked nervous, his hands twisted together. Ma'am, the shuttle preps for departure. The commander sends regards. He says the station stays grateful for your restraint. Kara smiled small. Restraint costs effort, she said, but it pays better than rage. Tell him thank you. The aide walked beside her. They passed the wide viewport. The stars burned bright and far. Kara stopped for a moment. She looked out. Saw the Khazari transport ship undock. It moved slow and careful away from the station. She watched until the engines flared blue and the ship vanished into the black. The aide spoke quiet. Was any of it planned, ma'am? The fight, the words, the way it ended. Kara turned to him. She looked at her right arm. The bruises faded to faint yellow now. No, she said, none of it planned, but all of it ready. Always ready. We train for peace, we prepare for war. We hope for the first, we expect the second. They continued walking. The corridor curved gentle toward the docking ring. Kara thought of the talks, the blood on the floor, the broken chiton, the quiet after. She thought of Earth, The heavy pull of gravity, the sharp bite of cold, the endless need to survive. She carried it all in her bones. She carried it all in her blood. At the shuttle bay, the hatch waited open. Kara stepped inside. The aide followed. The door sealed. The engines hummed low. The shuttle pulled away from Harmony Nexus, the station. Shrank behind them until it looked like a silver wheel against the stars. Inside the cabin, Kara sat by the viewport. She flexed her right hand once. The knuckles moved smooth. The arm felt strong. She looked at the small knife on her belt. She touched the handle once. Then she looked away. The knife stayed decoration now. The real edge stayed inside her skin. The pilot spoke over the comm. Course set for Earth orbit. ETA 40 hours. Ambassador, anything else needed? Kara answered soft. No, nothing else, thank you. She leaned back in the seat. She closed her eyes. The hum of the engines felt steady. The stars slid past slow and quiet. She thought of the Khazari. They would tell their stories now. They would warn their young. They would speak of the Deathworlder who fought without steel. They would speak of the arm that broke elite guards. They would speak with respect instead of fear. Humanity stayed the same. Polite when possible, deadly when necessary. The galaxy learned again. Species carry weapons. Some species become weapons. The difference matters. The shuttle flew on. The journey home began. Kara Voss rested. Her arm stayed whole. Her mind stayed clear. Her reputation stayed solid. The stars watched without judgment. The universe turned on.